From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, a one-of-a-kind library in Oakland's Latino district could be hit with an eviction notice.
I don't think we would be prepared to lose this. It would be a huge loss.
Why the city's inability to pay rent is putting this library in jeopardy. Plus, the Tesla showroom in Palo Alto is drawing big crowds as the company's boss cozies up with the president.
I think what's going on in our government is deplorable.
But one Tesla driver says the anger is misdirected. And a sea of green at San Francisco's Embarcadero for St. Patrick's Day.
I'm 52 years old. I've been doing it since I was 53 in my mother's womb.
We are introducing you to a whole host of characters at today's parade. Good evening, I'm Andrea Nakano. Thank you so much for joining us. Brian Hackney is off tonight. We begin tonight in Sacramento, where California Republicans are gathering for their annual GOP convention. This is happening at the Hyatt Regency in Sacramento and at the Safe Credit Union Convention Center. And right outside, large crowds are protesting the convention. They held signs calling out the Trump administration, Elon Musk, and Doge. It was a different vibe inside, with Republicans excited about what's going on with the current administration.
For everybody just to unite, stand up for the Republican Party, and just fight to keep making America great.
The convention runs through Sunday. Our Lauren Toms will have a wrap of today's events in our 11 o'clock hour. We have Darren Peck joining us now for some weather updates, and it was a gorgeous day today. But
that's it right now behind us. It looks great. That's a live view, yeah.
But more rain.
Yeah, it's coming back tomorrow.
It's coming back.
So that day was great that we got a Saturday. First half of the weekend, wonderful. Most of Sunday's actually okay.
Okay, we'll take it.
But it is going to rain tomorrow, and I'm going to show you how this will play out. The first thing we'll do is we'll get our bearings, taking a look across the virtual map. What we're going to watch is a forward forecast depiction for tomorrow. It's very subtle, but you see the little green blips up here? This is tomorrow morning. Very light, occasional on and off hit and miss showers through northernmost Sonoma County for most of the morning. I doubt that'll even be measurable. But watch what happens by the afternoon. Let's get a slightly wider view, because now the showers are starting to fill in. The cold front is now arriving, and this gets here through the afternoon and early evening. We just played this all the way ahead to the 6 o'clock hour. See the time up there? That's actually 7 p.m. before we really start to see the main front arrive. Most of Sunday, you don't get rained on. Unless you're in the North Bay through the late morning and early afternoon, then you will notice a few showers from this. Let's take a look at that again from a slightly different perspective. This is same information. This is just a slightly different model. It's the high-resolution rapid refresh. We just want to compare them. It's telling the same story. Light on again, off again showers through the morning. And then here we are. In the early afternoon, you might notice some heavier bands, pretty much still confined to the North Bay, but this is the line right here. That's the cold front of the whole system. By 5 o'clock, that's now approaching the southern edge of Marin. It gets down to the Golden Gate by the time we get to 7 o'clock. From then on, it'll move across the rest of the bay. This is mainly a Sunday night rainmaker. We'll play this through the whole way, coming up in the full forecast, and then we'll look ahead to the next one. We're on track now. There's more rain coming on Wednesday and Thursday. Higher degree of confidence in that now than there was just yesterday. I'll show you what it looks like in a bit. For now, Andrea, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Darren. Well, Sonoma County is doubling down on its support for immigrant communities after ICE agents arrested a person at the probation department in Santa Rosa. The county says that person was recently released from a detention facility. Witnesses say a plainclothes officer entered the lobby, did not identify himself, and arrested the person. The chief probation officer issued a statement in part saying, "We want to make clear that probation was not involved in coordinating this incident in any way. Probation is focused on public safety and the rehabilitation of clients. Our mission is to protect the community as a whole." A one-of-a-kind library and a one-of-a-kind eviction. An Oakland library could soon get the boot for failing to pay rent. The landlord says the city hasn't paid rent for about a year and a half, and time is running out for the beloved library. Neighbors tell Dawn Lynn the library is a big asset in the community. They want the city to save it.
Porque son diferentes, son pelajes diferentes. Por eso estamos...
The Cesar Chavez Library is a place where kids can learn,
check them out,
play, and grow.
What's in here? We love this location whenever we can come in the weekends.
Veronica Bravo Sanchez has been coming here for 21 years since it first opened in 2004. Now her kids check out Spanish language books from the branch on a monthly basis.
They go to Spanish immersion school, so that's how important it is for us. So
She says it's important for her 5-year-old twins to learn about their culture and heritage. Many families in the Fruitvale district came from Latin America, and Oakland city officials say this branch holds the largest collection of Spanish language books in the city's public library system.
one of a kind library. They even have like an outdoor garden that we like to enjoy. They have some amazing events here, so I just wish they can work it out.
That's right, work it out so it won't get shut down. The city struck a deal with the landlord when it was being built 20-some-odd years ago. Free rent for 20 years. Well, that deal expired in 2023, about 18 months ago. The landlord, which is the Unity Council, a nonprofit organization, says the city so far has refused to negotiate a new lease or pay rent.
At a standstill with the city. There hasn't been much movement, and I think that's kind of the frustrating part.
Chris Iglesias is the CEO of the Unity Council. He says the space is about 15,000 square feet, and the market rent is roughly $40,000 to $50,000 a month.
This isn't about like maximizing profits. It's just about being fair, and so we are willing to negotiate a below market rent for them.
The city did not respond to our request for comment on Saturday, but a city spokesman told the Chronicle they need some more time to figure out how to move forward. The city is already dealing with a large budget deficit of about $130 million. The Unity Council is prepared to evict the library if the city doesn't act soon.
They have a lot of good books, and I love this library, so I hope they don't take it down.
Many visitors are shocked to learn of the possible eviction.
If they took it down, I'll be actually sad.
For this community, the reading scores are really low, so the library is very helpful.
Neighbors like Veronica hope for the good of the kids, both sides can soon reach a compromise.
I don't think we would be prepared to lose this. It would be a huge loss.
The Unity Council plans to give the city a 30-day notice soon. The notice would force the city to either come to the table to negotiate or pack up and move.
Meanwhile, hundreds of employees at San Francisco's public schools have received a preliminary layoff notice today. Yesterday, the school board announced they won't be laying off certified teachers, but school employees like teachers, aides, and counselors are at risk of losing their jobs. Leaders voted unanimously in February to approve the cuts as the district deals with a $113 million budget deficit. Well, this is the first weekend VTA is not running service after 1,500 employees went on strike. We just learned the VTA has sent a letter to the governor to help find a resolution. Employees were back out on the picket lines today. Their main sticking points, higher wages and a third-party arbitration to settle grievances. This comes after union members left a mediating session last night without a deal.
They left mediation early. We were there to go 24/7 to get this contract done so we could get buses and rail back on the road, and they are dragging their feet.
The strikes have forced riders to find other forms of transportation. On any given day, VTA provides 100,000 rides to people in Santa Clara County. More than 2 weeks later, the T-line is fully operational once again. This after water was leaking into the tunnels at the Chinatown Rose Park station. Max Darrow with more on why SFMTA had to go in now to fix the leaks.
Trains are running again through San Francisco Central Subway after 4 stations were closed for 17 days for repairs. And that is welcome news for commuters like Rusaf Doshi.
It was really affecting me. I need to take like Waymo or like bus every time.
The SFMTA had to close 4 stations along the northern stretch of the T-line so crews could conduct water mitigation work at the Chinatown Rose Park station. Locals and regular riders say it had been an issue for some time.
When you go into the Chinatown station, you would notice some leaking, but you didn't know how pervasive it was. So I assume it was pretty serious. That's why they had to shut it down.
According to the SFMTA, it's normal to have some water seep into the tunnels, especially at the Chinatown Rose Park station, as it sits 100 feet underground and is below the water table. However, an agency spokesperson told our Kenny Choi,
but there was a little more than we're comfortable with. And because it was causing damage, that's why we're addressing this problem now.
the SFMTA budgeted $7 million to fix the leaks. Ed Su, the chairman of the Chinatown Merchants United Association, hopes this is the first of several projects to improve Central Subway maintenance, pointing towards malfunctions with elevators and escalators.
It's hurting our business in Chinatown, also hurting our image in Chinatown.
Walking through the station on Saturday, Doshi says he's seen some improvement.
Yeah, a little bit like it's changed, I would say, but not that much.
And with the trains back up and running, he's glad he can go back to his normal routine.
Well, coming up, tornado threat is high in the deep south. We're taking a look at the damages. Plus, you can no longer touch the animals at Tilden Petting Zoo. Why they made this decision. Up next. At least 18 people are dead across the U.S. after tornadoes and strong winds tore through 4 states. Take a look at the damage in St. Louis, Missouri. Roofs of homes have been ripped off, trucks have been turned over on their side, and trees were uprooted. The most serious threats were to eastern Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, and the western parts of the Florida Panhandle and Georgia. We are sending things over now to Darren to talk about this. And we had actually some quite strong winds yesterday.
Yes.
I was even at a story where a tree fell onto a home.
Yep.
And I think they brought some National Weather Service people over to see if it was a tornado, but it wasn't. It was
straight line winds, so no confirmation on that, not likely. But on Wednesday, going back to Wednesday, we had a severe thunderstorm warning, several of them across the city and the peninsula. That same storm then marched its way across the midsection of the country and has been making a lot of headlines. So a lot of what we've been hearing about from the tornado outbreak, which has happened through the midsection of the country, that was our storm that came through here. And just another look at this, if you watch how this storm is put together, that's what was here 2 days ago. When it gets out to the midsection of the country, it now has access to all the warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf. And look at this line. So you've got this clashing masses of air that don't really behave well together. And this is why this storm has really blown up into the monster that it has. The big red bullseye on here shows you where the highest degree of concern is. And with all of the reports that we're hearing now about confirmed tornadoes through this part of the country from last night and again this morning, and multiple deaths have already been reported out here today through different states from varying separate storms that have gone through, spawning tornadoes. It's been a very significant day, and we'll have more details on that as well throughout the rest of the news cycle. But boy, what a mess, and an unfortunate one at that. If we bring the story back here close to home, ours is one of gentler rain, which is coming back for tomorrow's forecast. So let's take a look at how this will play out and pick the story back up where we left off. I want you to see what Sunday looks like because that's when the rain's coming back. We'll start by playing the futurecast. Once again, you can see the showers, which will be in the North Bay through much of the morning, but there's really not a whole lot to that. Light showers starting tomorrow. And then as we get to the late morning and early afternoon, those numbers will grow. And we will see more widespread rain as the cold front comes on shore, developing right out about here and then marching its way across the rest of the bay. But that's not going to happen until we get to like 7 o'clock. You can see the depiction up there. That is looking at the same time frame there as this is. So if we take that and play it forward, you can see the rain coming in across much of the bay over the course of the rest of Sunday. But there's a cold front in there. And that cold front is the defining feature for where you're going to get the most noticeable rain. That cold front gets down to the city and then marches its way south from like sunset through the overnight hours. That's really when the majority of us are going to notice the rain from that system as it comes through from that point in time. We'll probably pick up just about a half an inch of rain from it. So it's not going to be a big rainfall maker for us if we put the numbers on there. That's not significant. We're not concerned about flooding from this. But it'll be rain, and it's also going to be windy. Let's take a look at the wind from this one for a moment. And when we get the wide view out here, so we can watch the cold front arrive, this has that classic signature to it. When we see the wind arrive from the northwest, you're going to see the cold front develop within these wind streams. It's going to be unmistakable here in a second. There it is. And you can also look at the time frame there. So just as we get to that 7, 8, 9 o'clock time frame, when some of the better rain from the cold front's marching across the heart of the bay tomorrow. That's also when we're going to see the cold front come through, and that's when you can get 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts, maybe up to 50 in the North Bay Mountains, or 40 to 50 along the coast for the North Bay, and even down the peninsula. So it'll be windy. We don't have a wind advisory for the majority of the bay, but we do tomorrow in the North Bay Mountains from that system as it's going to come through. So a bit windy tomorrow. We'll get some rain out of it, about a half an inch of rain. That's the first system. There's another one coming after that, so let's go out and find that one. We're going to play this forward now, and we're going to advance the forecast all the way ahead to the middle of the week. Now we're looking at Wednesday, and that's when the next system comes in late on Wednesday, overnight into Thursday. That went kind of fast, but there was your rain. We're going to broad brush it as a Wednesday, late Thursday morning kind of storm. Totals won't be big with this one either. We'll probably get about another half an inch of rain from that one at most, maybe even less than that. But it is another system that we've got a high degree of confidence now. We're going to get more rain in the middle of the week. So a couple of systems. There's the Sunday one we looked at. There's the Wednesday, Thursday system. There might be just a few leftover showers on Monday morning from that first system, but they shouldn't last long.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. President Trump has signed a bill to keep the government running for 6 more months. The bill cuts $13 billion in non-defense spending across all federal departments and increases defense spending by about $6 billion. President Trump praised Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for helping pass continuing resolution. He now faces backlash from his fellow Democrats.
I think it is a huge slap in the face, and I think that there is a wide sense of betrayal.
Schumer explained why he voted yes on the bill, saying it's a bad bill, but a government shutdown would grant President Trump more power. Tonight, to talk more about economics and politics, we have Dr. Farhad Sabatan from Cal State East Bay joining us. Thank you for making time for us today.
My pleasure.
You know, so we just hear about this deal that's being worked out to have the budget go on for 6 more months. Senator Schumer receiving a little bit of backlash for that. Was this the best case scenario in light of everything that's going on to give lawmakers a little bit more time to work out a budget?
Well, I'm afraid the budget itself is problematic because, as you stated in your report, it's going to cause a significant reduction in government spending. And when governments stop spending, that basically means job losses. It means lack of public services. It could lead to recession. Essentially, it reduces the total demand in the economy. And government is, of course, one of the most some effective stimulus into the economy. So what we are going to expect is that in the long run, once the budget is actually approved, then we expect some recession, and we expect some reduction in productivity.
Now, talking about recession and productivity, we've been hearing about these tariffs for so long. They're supposed to go into effect on April 2nd. All of this rhetoric, though, there's already been some impacts to the economy and productivity. Are there any ways to work this out here? Do you see these tariffs really going into place on April 2nd?
Well, some of the tariffs since February have gone into effect, but the problem is that these tariffs are becoming retaliated, and therefore, one country retaliates and we have to retaliate. It turns into what we call a tariff war. Tariff war is in no one's interest because what it does is that it causes the prices to go up for both countries. Consumers are worse off, the economy is worse off. And most importantly, it creates a sort of uncertainty in the stock market. As I'm sure you've noticed, the stock market has lost about 8% since its high in February. This is a loss of exceeding like $4 trillion in market value. Investors are jittery when there is uncertainty, and that is one of the most important impacts that I can see on the economy.
Now, the Dow having its worst week since 2023 this week. There is supposed to be a Federal Reserve policy meeting scheduled for this upcoming week as they contemplate interest rates. What are we looking for them to do here this week, and what would be the best case scenario?
Well, the best case scenario would be not to raise the interest rate because the interest rate is already high. That's impacting the housing situation and borrowing and many other things. The interest rate, if they can contemplate keeping it at the level it is, or at least reducing it by a little bit, it could help with inflation and could help with the economy. At least maybe the private sector, the investors, could make up for the loss of all kinds of government jobs.
Now, I know it's hard to look in the crystal ball, but there are a lot of things going on. In your expert opinion, are we heading towards a recession? Where are we going here?
Well, if I were to bet on it, it seems to me that given the tariffs and the threats of the tariffs, which creates uncertainty, that definitely is pointing towards a recession. How deep the recession is going to be all depends on how deep these tariffs and budget cuts are going to be.
All right, Dr. Sabatan with Cal State East Bay, thank you for your time tonight.
My pleasure.
Yet another protest in front of a Tesla showroom here in the Bay Area, this time in Palo Alto, led by the group Raging Grannies of the Peninsula. They're calling on people to boycott Tesla and stand against what they call a fascist government takeover by the company's CEO, Elon Musk.
This is worse than we ever expected to happen. People want to do something. They're tired of writing to their electeds. Even the Democratic electeds are not responding like we want them to. We are furious as heck.
The protest was just the latest in a series of demonstrations against Elon Musk and Tesla here in the Bay Area and around the nation. Since Tesla CEO Elon Musk joined the Trump administration, the effects on his car company have been dramatic, with the stock price down significantly. Suji Nam reports Tesla cars and dealerships have also been targeted.
John Stringer has owned 5 Teslas, his latest purchase, a Cybertruck. He is also the founder of Tesla Owners of Silicon Valley.
My goal was to interact with other enthusiasts.
John and his community of 6,000 Tesla owners say safety on the roads has become a greater concern.
They're getting vandalized just for no reason, just because they're driving Teslas. This is my car, and I see it, I get it myself. The kind of car you drive shouldn't be like a reason to get attacked.
I look and I see in giant white spray painted letters, F Elon. You could probably fill in the blank. For what? It didn't affect Elon, and it's something that I had to deal with.
There has been a string of incidents involving vandalism of Teslas and protests at dealerships in recent weeks in response to Elon Musk's work with the Trump administration. John says his friends in the Tesla manufacturing industry have also been facing backlash.
It's really unfortunate that they're being targeted, they're being berated, owners are being berated. And
the politics taking a toll on Tesla's bottom line as well. A recent report shows Tesla's sales in the U.S. have dropped 1% last year compared to 2023, the company's first annual sales decline in 12 years. Company shares have also dropped more than 40% since President Trump took office.
This is a form of protest. Now, I'm not condoning vandalism, but it's not surprising that the Tesla charging spots of their dealerships are becoming focal points where people are expressing their dismay.
UC Berkeley marketing faculty Bill Pierce says when politics and business converge, it can have a significant long-term impact on the brand.
The politics in this time, which is very fractured, is almost running 180 degrees from what the Tesla brand was built on. And this is too abrupt change for the Tesla fans. And they're saying, look, I thought you were this, and now you're that. I don't want any part of you. There's going to be an erosion of trust in the brand.
For John, however, he wants to relay the message that many Tesla owners bought the car for its technological advancements and environmental impact, and not necessarily for Elon Musk's opinions or political beliefs.
Help with climate change and sustainability. And so every gas car off the road is going to help out that mission.
He tells us that in a time of greater political divide,
voice your opinion, peacefully protest, but it needs to be peaceful.
John says communication is key on both sides of the aisle. Suji Nam, CBS News, Silicon Valley.
In Berkeley, the Tilden Little Farm has temporarily suspended their petting zoo. due to possible cases of bird flu in the area. Warning signs near the farms, chicken, ducks, pigs, and other animal enclosures instructed visitors against touching the animals and to wash their hands when they leave the farm. We spoke with Adrienne from San Leandro, who says she was disappointed to see the news.
We just went to the farmer's market to go pick up celery and lettuce, and so it was kind of a bummer to come and see that we can't feed them. And now we're stuck with all those vegetables.
I remember going out there with lettuce as well. No word yet on just how long the hold on petting and feeding animals will last. Well, Bay Area health officials say it's time to make sure you're up to date on your measles vaccine. County health officers put out a joint warning in response to rising cases across the country. They say right now the risk in the Bay Area is low, but more than 300 cases have been reported in the United States. Officials recommend getting the vaccine if you are not sure if you were vaccinated as a child. Well, coming up, the Trump administration is pulling funding from NOAA. How this is impacting the National Weather Service office in Monterey. A beautiful day today, but as the Bay Area deals with the latest rounds of rain, there is growing concern about the impact of federal cuts on the agency that protects the public from dangerous weather events. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration tracks rain and flood risks as well as fire danger. They monitor it all 24/7. They also provide weather data that our First Alert weather team uses here, and that information feeds into weather apps on your phone. The National Weather Service office in Monterey was already affected by the first round of cuts, and there are fears more layoffs may be coming. Kenny Choi shows us what's at stake.
Meteorologist Matt Maley keeps a close eye on this latest storm.
This is what we would refer to as water vapor.
Relying on all the technology at the National Weather Center.
That's a good way for us meteorologists to get a snapshot and kind of look at what's happening in the upper levels of the atmosphere, is basically how much moisture content we have.
The NWS falls under the umbrella of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Brian Garcia is one of 12 meteorologists at the Monterey Center, which sends out severe weather-related warnings, including tsunamis and flash floods, to the public and local government emergency management agencies. It's a 365, 24/7 operation.
The information that comes out of this office allows communities to prepare ahead of time for those floods.
It's not just forecasts and warnings they provide to 11 counties and some 8 million people. Incident meteorologists will deploy and work alongside first responders during massive wildfires, providing critical information.
So this is the instrument itself. This is called a radiosonde. 3, 2, 1.
The small device attached to a helium-filled weather balloon will ascend tens of thousands of feet, collecting and sending back real-time data to computers.
So it's giving us the pressure, temperature, relative humidity.
All that information helps provide a more accurate analysis of the conditions.
We relay that information to the incident management team. They come up with an action plan for the day, and then they kind of go and attack the fire and try to do what they can.
In those instances, we're supporting our community by embedding with our partners in the Departments of Emergency Management at their emergency operations centers.
More than 1,000 NOAA employees have been recently laid off. The Trump administration is reportedly directing NOAA to lay off an additional 1,000 workers. Many employees have been working in Monterey for decades.
We're ingrained into this community and we're invested in this community for the long haul.
For meteorologists like Maley and Garcia, they're focused on their daily tasks, part of which is to provide critical information during severe weather.
We're able to use that information to determine if we're going to get clouds to develop, or if a thunderstorm went to develop, or if a fire got enough heat underneath of it, if we'll be able to create some of its own weather.
It's a service they provide for public safety.
DOJ has also announced it might terminate the leases of 19 NOAA offices nationwide, including buildings that generate vital weather forecasts and maintain radar operations. NOAA declined to comment on the layoffs.
And speaking of using some of that highly rated forecast imagery, we've got some for you tonight. is going to rain tomorrow. So we're going to bring forward the leading edge of the showers, which get here late tomorrow. So the first half of Sunday, you're going to be okay, but look what's coming. That's going to be Sunday through like the second half of the day and into part of Monday. There's another one coming in the middle of the week. We're going to look at both of these, time them out, tell you how much rain, and we'll look at snow in the Sierra as well, because that's part of it. See you in a bit.
A look at I-80 near Soda Springs today, where drivers are facing snowy conditions right now. Chains are required on all non-four-wheel drive vehicles from Donner Lake Interchange to Kingville in Nevada County. Meanwhile, in Nevada County, an unexpected late winter storm dropped piles of snow that could last for days. Officials say it isn't typical for the area to get this much snowfall in March. The county says while chains aren't required, they still urge drivers to take it slow. And we have another storm, and all the rain that's coming tomorrow is going to head that way, right?
And then another one in the middle of the week. Fantastic. So we're going to we'll look at it in order. I got to show you our rain, and then we're going to look at the snow in the Sierra.
Because it's been cold.
It's been cold enough.
Really
we had a light dusting of snow on our peaks. Snow level seemingly down as low as about 1,500 feet here around the bay in places. The canyons just up above the Tri-Valley at about 1,500 feet had some pretty good looking snow. And just north of Middletown, we had some beautiful imagery of that as well. That was all yesterday. Let's take a look at what's coming next. Pacific looks good right now. Satellite imagery actually looks beautiful. So we're in the nighttime phase now as we head towards sunset. Sun's still up for us, but the satellite's just reading a little bit ahead. But that is the next system out there. Doesn't that look good? So there's a couple of them out here. There's that one. There's another one behind it that's going to bring in these two separate waves of rain. So let's look at them in detail. We'll say goodbye to the northern hemisphere, bring it back home to the bay. We've looked at the timing at this a few times, but I just want to show you again how this is going to play out for tomorrow. It will rain tomorrow by the afternoon for most of us. But look up in the North Bay there. You're going to see some green blips that begin to show up there. There's not a lot of them. Can you see them? Right there. This is 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. A little bit of light rain up around Windsor, Healdsburg, barely enough to measure. That is not really the system. We're waiting for the cold front to arrive, and you're going to see how that looks different once we get into the afternoon, and now it's on, right here. Afternoon into the evening. Rainfall is going to start to pick up in intensity. This is helpful to look at it this way, just to kind of see in general that for most of us, certainly from the city southward, you're not getting rain for like the first half of Sunday, and probably not even really till like 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow before you start to notice the showers. And then really, it's not till the darkness of Sunday when the better rain's going to come overhead. Let's take a look at that again, just to watch it with a little more detail. Now that we've seen how this is going to start, here's how it will impact Sunday. Look at the time that we've brought this forward to. We've got it ahead into the afternoon. There's the cold front. That's when it's moving through the North Bay. Let's play that forward and watch that progress its way down to the Golden Gate by the time we get into the evening. Now we're looking at the time frame that gets us to right around afternoon and early evening, and now we're taking a look ahead towards about 7 o'clock, working its way down the peninsula. This is when just about everybody is now finally getting into the act. Gets into the Santa Clara Valley there as we get into like the 9, 10 o'clock hour. But there's still plenty of rain here, so it'll keep raining from this point on now overnight, Sunday night into Monday morning. And there will be leftover showers for part of Monday, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm mixed in. For about the first half of Monday, you kind of see them moving across. Monday will be another one of those days where you'll get breaks of blue sky, and then every once in a while, a little shower is going to develop seemingly out of nowhere. You get a brief little downpour with it. But the totals are never really big with this system. It's maybe about a little less than an inch in the North Bay, about a half an inch of rain in the South Bay. That's the first system. Let me quickly show you what the other one looks like. This is the one that comes in late Wednesday into Thursday. So we're going to watch it on the wide view, and it's going to go fairly quickly, and we're just going to broad brush the notion, because here we are Wednesday afternoon. It still hasn't started raining yet. So at this point, it's Wednesday night into Thursday morning, It's going to be a quick in and out system. It's not going to deliver as much rain as the one we're going to see for Sunday night, but we will get a little more rain Wednesday night into Thursday. And then, yes, both of these will produce snow in the Sierra. There's that first system, which puts down about 2 feet of snow, and snow level gets relatively low again, not as low as the system that was just here, but it gets down to around 4,000 feet. And then another system will come in after that, and we'll see a little more snow that will fall for Wednesday and Thursday up there. But the Sunday night, Monday one looks better on both fronts. There's your 7-day forecast. That's that next system. And then we look clear going into next weekend. All right, Andrea, over to you.
All right, thanks, Darren. Up next, a sea of green at San Francisco's Embarcadero. A look at the St. Patrick's Day Parade coming up next. Thousands attended Holy Fest, Festival of Colors at Discovery Meadow in downtown San Jose this afternoon. It's the largest Holy Fest in the Bay Area. Bright colors filled the air as event-goers threw colored powder to celebrate Holi. We talked to several families who were excited to bring their children and celebrate their culture.
It's pretty cool atmosphere here to kind of, play with colors and dance around, listening to nice music and songs. And it just reminds us back of our country, how people celebrate, or we used to celebrate back in India when we were little, So kind of coming here.
And they tell you that stuff comes out in the wash, but it really doesn't. Holy Fest is an Indian festival welcoming spring and celebrating new beginnings, new hope, unity, and diversity. The event was put on by the Association of Indo-Americans. Monday is officially St. Patrick's Day around the world, but San Francisco kicked off a little bit early today with its annual parade down Market Street to City Hall. And while the atmosphere was fun, there was also an emphasis on recognizing the importance of immigrants in the country. John Ramos has the story.
They say one day a year everyone is Irish, but on all the rest of the days, most Americans are either immigrants or the descendants of immigrants, and that gave this year's St. Patrick's Day Parade a whole new significance.
All right, San Francisco, make some noise!
This was officially the 174th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in San Francisco. That's because during the COVID shutdown, a few people marched down Market Street with flags and pipes just to keep the tradition going.
It is true that the Irish like to celebrate, for sure. And what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong at all. In fact, Edward Connolly came to watch his family march and catch up with friends. He immigrated to the United States in 1970 as a young man.
I just came over. My family was here in New York. So I just joined my family, and then I came to San Francisco.
He worked hard his whole life and is proud of his Irish heritage, but he only decided to become a citizen in 2016 for what he admits were practical reasons.
No, I didn't become a citizen until before Trump went for office. That's when I became a citizen.
Why did you do that?
Because Trump was so crazy. He could throw anybody out of this country.
Many Irish arrived in America in the 1800s because of a potato famine back home. They were vilified by the country for taking jobs that most people didn't want. Eventually, they gained their acceptance after becoming prominent in law enforcement and firefighting, which is acknowledged as part of the Irish-American culture to this day.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think culture is really important, because we don't necessarily have a culture here. We have cultures. And you can grasp all of them and be part of it. I think it's a good thing, a good thing to keep a history going.
Do you think that's being appreciated very much right now?
No. No, I don't think it's being appreciated too much right now.
Christine Ahern Del Carlo is a second-generation Irish-American who believes there is a need for people to hold on to their roots.
A lot of people still consider Ireland home. And when you go there, I've gone several times, it's very strange. I didn't think I would be that affected because my grandparents were born there, my dad was born here. And when the first time I went back there, I really felt like going home. It was weird. It was really weird.
For those born in Ireland, like Edward, the feeling runs pretty deep about the current anti-immigrant sentiment, and he doesn't pull any punches about who he blames for it. Does it bother you to see that happening?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Why? What's the feeling?
Because Trump is crazy. The whole world hates Trump. The whole world hates Trump.
He's proud of what he's done as an American, and he's even prouder of the family he's raised here. And he hopes his grandchild will have a chance to be proud to be the product of immigrants that have chosen to call this country their home.
And I'm sure they are glad they got the parade done today because it's not going to be as nice tomorrow.
They thread the needle on that one today. Worked out perfect. It was beautiful looking images from the parade
yeah,
today.
It was beautiful out there, and nice to have all of the floats and everybody involved. Good day for a parade, not so much tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here tonight at 11 o'clock.